Honestly, I'm always, a quarter inch away from falling on my ass.
I
Yeah.
might make that the opening to the recording, just so you know.
Perfect.
Hello and welcome to another zany episode of Nerdy West Coast Swing, the podcast with pixels where the anchors are out of this world and the points don't matter. We are here to help train your eyes so you can learn faster and dance better. I'm Cassie Winter.
I'm Alicia Marshall. If you're wondering who are we to be having these pros on with us, Cassie and I both have extensive training and experience in both partnered and solo dancing. She has about 23 years and I have about 25. So tonight we have the lovely Phoenix Gray on with us. We're very excited.
So
And we're going to
Yay!
look at one, maybe two of his dances, but I think we're gonna definitely look at the first place from
Swingtacular 2022. I don't know what time is.
2022.
Why did my brain say 2019? I'm stuck in the before times.
Yeah, we're stuck in this before times.
And then if we have time or into it, also analyzing his dance with Robert Rustin from Atlanta last month.
So
phenomenal.
I think the first thing we want to do before we go into analyzing is just kind of hear about your dance background and tell the people how you got into.
I had to do it. I found it.
I thought it would be
happen.
awkward for me to ask you the dance background question because I was there. So
I know you were literally
that's
there.
That's why I was
one.
like, I'm gonna let Alicia ask that question.
I love that. Yeah. So my dance background. Oh boy, today's a day. My dance background started in September 2010. I went up into this little ballroom space up in the rec center of PSU, and Cassie and Missy were there teaching a little class. I know, I miss Missy. Yeah, so they were teaching a little class, and then they taught a little connection exercise, just kind of A-frame, just kind of lean in toward each other. And I was like, oh, this is cool. Because like literally at that moment, I was like, it made sense what they were asking me to do. And then Missy knew what she was doing already because she was already a dancer. And I was like, ooh, I can tell where your feet are in space, what foot you're on, how much of your weight is on what foot. This is really cool. And then I was addicted. And then I just kept on dancing and kept on going and did everything. And then I started competing and I wanted to be a follower. So then I did. And the rules said that I couldn't. So I got the rules changed. And now I compete as a leader and a follower. And I'm loving it.
Yeah,
you do.
You are wonderful at both.
Yes, I remember before you came along, everybody was expecting me to change the system, and that's just not who I am. So when you came along and you did it, I was like, yes.
Yeah, I'm an avid rule follower, but if I don't like the rules, I get the rules changed.
Excellent.
That's a good way to go about
it.
Yeah. Before we share the link to the dance of you and Conor, is there any like preamble you want to offer?
So really the cool thing about the dance with me and Conor was it was a bit of a, I don't know, a lot of things just kind of aligned that weekend for us to dance with each other because I don't think we had really drawn each other in a spotlight before. We had drawn each other in prelims from time to time.
Yeah.
But basically that weekend, the night before we had our finals, I had just finished up a private lesson and he was off in the corner and we just ended up chatting and we were like chatting for 2 hours. We were just catching up on just life stuff and, where we were seeing the dance going and what we wanted to see happen out of the dance and, things that we were seeing in our own divisions and what we want to see more of and what we enjoy about dancing. And we were just like really kind of, finally bonding where usually we just are people that run into each other passively because that happens all the time in the competitive field. Like you see your friends, you hang out, sort of. You see other people, like of them, you interact with them in a competitive sense. And then, past that, whatever. But we just had this really cool moment of like, no, this is really cool. And so then, we had a really awesome dance and we both, were talking about how we love like slow songs and late night stuff and all that.
Yeah.
We danced later on that night. And then the next day comes up and we draw each other. And so then we both got to kind of lean into some of the things that we were talking about the night before. So it
Mhm,
was really just kind of like this serendipitous joining of all of the factors coming together, which was really cool.
mhm.
Yeah, that's
That's
so cool to
awesome.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I will drop the link in the chat. So everybody go ahead and go give it a watch, and then we will get to analyzing.
Yay!
So good.
Such magic.
I love how intently focused on each other you are.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal because we don't see that enough in spotlights anymore.
Hmm.
Like, and
Yeah.
love it so much.
Yeah.
And that was a big focus of it too. Like one of the things we were talking about the night before was how um, a lot of our a lot of competitors in general, especially in the spotlight scenario, they're trying to show off for the crowd. They're trying to um, show themselves off in the best light. They're trying to, just like create a show. Excuse me,
Yep.
for everybody. And Connor and I were both talking about how, it's really nice to just like almost social dance sometimes and just really connect with each other and show the the power of just kind of connecting with each other and having that sort of a dance.
Yeah.
And so since we had talked about it the night before, we both felt fairly comfortable, just like, hey, we're dancing with each other. Let's just like have fun and have this dance for us, and to hell
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
And it's so nice to see that it was rewarded by the
Mhm.
judges.
Yeah.
Totally.
I love the structure of it. You guys had one really nice moment where he decided to kind of highlight you, and you had
And
kind
your
of
pose was so
yeah, it was great. Second to
And
connect with the audience.
and that could have worked either way. Like if you wanted to highlight himself or highlight me, like I ended up in a pose where like I'm sitting there and turn and look at him, and so like I could have been like, oh look, he said a nice thing about me, or if you like pointed it at himself, like I'm still like, oh look at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got the options.
Mhm.
Yep. All right. You wanna do this with me, Phoenix? All right. To the screen share. Yes.
I love it.
I live the almighty Mushu. Okay,
Oh my goodness. Yes. All right.
I have moments.
So, do you have
On
any
that one
like
end.
strong feelings about the very, very beginning of spotlights? Because that's something that Alicia and I
Yeah,
tend to
they
talk
scare
about a
the
lot.
crap out of me. Yeah, so
Fair.
the very beginning of spotlights, usually the biggest thing in my mind is like, okay, who's starting this off?
Yeah.
Right? So like I'm usually worried about do I create the first movement? Do I set the tone? I have a tendency, just because I'm really bad at mirroring other people,
Mhm.
um, that I just set the tone myself by default, and I kind of, hope that by aggregation of time, people realize I tend to start things off, and so then they just let me.
Mhm.
Uh, um, but yeah, I mean, this one, I was sitting there being patient. We started away from each other, and actually, my eyes were like closed for a vast majority of this intro. Uh,
Mm.
so he was walking in toward me. I think I might have just been like gazing just a little bit, um, just enough to notice. Yeah, I think I peeked a little bit just to know like the ins and outs and the forward and back. But
Mhm.
like I was, especially once I heard the song start off, I was like, oh, this is my zone, this is my jam. And so I got
Yeah.
real internal and like closed my eyes to feel it more.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, so I was just like waiting for the big hits to move through. I was watching his spacing. Um, but really, a lot of my focus for this dance was honestly to do a lot opposite to what my normal is, which was to just shut up and listen,
Mhm.
Mm.
which has been an interesting trend in my dancing lately. That is very
Mhm.
fascinating.
I've noticed that from what I've seen from you. Um,
Mhm.
and I really like the outcomes that it's creating for you. Like it's really nice. This is my favorite dance of yours.
Yeah.
And I really like how you've evolved your dancing, especially
Mhm.
spotlight wise. I really like it. Um, I think
Mhm.
this is just perfect example of how things have evolved for you.
Yeah,
Has
I've been
that been
trying to quiet
something
myself.
intentional?
What's that?
Has that been something intentional?
Yeah, I think I don't know. I swing back and forth a lot all the time. I go from one extreme to the other in what
Mm-hmm.
my focus is in my dancing. So um, sometimes it's about like, hey, how can I be more musical or influence more or do more or show myself more, right?
Yeah.
And then other times I'll be like, huh, that's not super duper working out well for me. What if I tried dancing really clean? What if I tried like actually following? And
Mm-hmm.
so like I kind of just go back and forth kind of between those two extremes of like dancing like everything that I want to do and then I swing all the way back to like shut up and listen mode.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of going through a shut up and listen mode a
Mm-hmm.
lot lately. And usually what ends up happening is, I just explore those extremes and I'm finding my way in the middle there somewhere
Mm-hmm.
as I keep
Mhm.
swinging back and forth between those.
Yeah.
The thing that set me up the most for it was, again talking to Connor and, just us enjoying our backgrounds because Connor comes from an Argentine tango background, which is just all
Mhm.
connection.
Yeah.
And he's also just a very clean dancer. So part of the metagame of spotlights is not only knowing who you are, but knowing who your partner is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, even looking back to the Mad Jam dance with Tuan, right? I feel that Tuan recognizes who I am as a dancer, and that like, hey, if you set Phoenix up for something, he's gonna do it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so I'll just take those moments. And so he was very smart and like, hey, just set Phoenix up for things and don't worry about it. Phoenix will take care of it.
Yeah.
That was
Right.
like the smart game to play.
Yeah.
Me knowing Connor, I know Connor really is into connecting, being clean, dancing, you know, in that really clean space. And
Mm-hmm.
so I have to find my own version of that within his style as well. Because if I sat there and danced right on top of him, like it's not going to look out very well for either of us.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a really nice balance.
Mhm.
Mhm. Such pretty angles and space.
So pretty. All right, so let's start getting like extra nerdy about some of this stuff. So,
Let's
is
do
there a
it.
particular moment that sticks out to you as something that you want to frame through and talk about?
I mean, I'm really good at like pointing the bad moments. Those are fun.
You and every other follow
I
with that
know.
one.
I know. I was like, I messed up here. I messed up here. I messed up here. This was a misread. Yeah. Um, because definitely even even though we were together in a lot of these moments, I do believe I was having a little bit of trouble like figuring out which pieces we were connecting to at various points in time.
Mm.
Mhm.
Like sometimes like so there's little freezes there. We were figuring out okay, we're living on that. I had the quick flick turnaround.
Yeah.
He'll delay come through it. He lets me just have my little moment. I think the music was doing something there, so he just let me have that. Uh, and again, I'm trying to keep myself more into this subtle space. Then through there. Nice. Okay, interesting thing here. I just don't trust anybody in the world.
Fair.
Fair.
So you notice I go for the extra arm.
Uh-huh.
Like anytime anybody goes for any sort of like a dip or a support move, like that right arm of mine immediately hooks onto something that I know won't fail. Boom.
Yep.
Mhm.
I don't blame you.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
it's
I
a
was like,
wise
because
tactic.
also I have a tendency like I know better, but I still do it. Like I hinge, but I don't self support. So I know that once I'm tipping back, I'm like, hey, save my life here.
Well, when you're
But
as tall, it's like so much harder to
Mhm.
self-support because you're distributing your weight further away from your center on either side, even if you are
Right.
self-supporting. So many leaders will just take you off your center. It doesn't take much at
Mhm.
that height to be taken off your center.
Yeah. So, I tried to shoot out that right leg a little bit to help
Yeah.
counterbalance, but when it goes into a neck drop or something like that, I'm like, well, let's just hope you got me. And then I'm also like super conscious of like, well, you are supporting me now. I hope you got it.
Yeah.
Just down there, whoop, boom. I could have planked a little bit better there.
The
And
good
now we
thing
got
though
right.
is that you kind of have like a safety blanket with having that foot so far back underneath you.
Right. And he was really good at setting me back onto that foot. So like
Yeah.
as I come down, you notice he swung me up onto my own balance again.
Mm-hmm.
So he was really conscious of the fact that I was so deep, like so far away from my foot, and he
Yeah.
needed to get me back up to it if he didn't want to just keep hanging on to me forever.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Because this would not have worked if your foot was further out.
Hmm.
The like swinging up and around.
Hmm.
That would not have gone well.
Absolutely. And then we just live in path of least resistance mode.
Mhm.
I I have a tendency to get tangled up in things. I'm like, let's see how we get out of this.
The curse of being double jointed.
I know. I will duck under anything. You can catch me in a hip catch, and I'll find a way to duck under it.
True story.
I'll be like, I'll get under this. Woo!
Whereas I'm the opposite. I'm like, I'll move you.
Right, right. Let's make you duck.
Signature Conor hair move.
Which I love because I do the hair
Good.
swipe all the time too. That's like one of the few
Yeah.
things that I can do with my free hand.
Yep.
That's like non-invasive and gives my hand something to do. So I actually like hair swipe myself a lot too.
Mhm.
There's got to be at least 3 or 4 of them in here. Big one moment.
Oh, that was such a lovely connected section.
Oh, that
right
was me
there.
falling right off my left foot there. Look at that. I leaned. I just like a little bit of subtle chaos. It's right after the tuck. That was good. Resettling underneath. Beautiful. Step, step. And then pop through. And right foot goes. Wonderful. And that left foot, I believe. Yep, I placed it a little bit too far back and I just kind of whoop, fell. But also, it did seem that we were moving a little bit laterally, and I was like, oh, we're going lateral. Let's go.
Right. Erin said, literal falling with style.
Yes.
That's literally what it is all the time.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
I'm honestly, I'm always, a quarter inch away from falling on my ass.
I
Yeah.
might make that the opening to the recording, just so you know.
If I'm not that close to falling on my ass, I'm not doing it. Pretty turns. Yay, I didn't clock him in the face. Okay, this is another thing that I hate that I keep doing. That little lunge thing, I gotta kill that. I've done it in so many of my spotlights and it serves zero purpose whatsoever. I think it's me just diffusing energy, or maybe I overshot a step somewhere. I'm gonna move my little thing because I can't see. Oh, did I try to ronde that? And then I was like, hey, my ronde's way back here. No, I sorted it. I just braced really far back, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I don't have that far back to go. And then I'm like, I'm just gonna sit here and lunge. And I'm gonna make you drag me up to my feet. Let's go. Do it. Yeah. And then my feet go, but my body does it. And then I'm like, yeah, let's ripple up. Woo.
Hey, it worked. Like, it's a
I
lovely
was gonna
moment.
say,
It
it looks
worked.
nice.
Like, it works
worked.
great. But I totally understand that when you're aware of the things that annoy you personally. So when you see
Oh,
them, you're like,
yeah.
oh God, I did it again.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That little ripple my way up thing, I do it way too often. Like you can probably pull up my last 5 follow spotlights, and I think I do it in all of them. So that's something I gotta analyze
Yeah.
I
and
mean, you
kill
know,
it.
it looks nice.
I
So
gotta kill it with fire.
But yeah, there was a lot of momentum going into it.
yeah,
Oh, that's fair.
So yeah, it was probably a diffusion thing.
probably in conjunction with where you had your foot.
Yeah, I immobilized my left foot, it looks like.
Yeah, it like just stayed there.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think I was expecting to like ronde across, and I just got further than I intended.
Oh yeah, were you expecting him to maybe scroll further away from you and to like tether your right side? Because that sometimes happens to
Possibly.
me. Like I'd be
It
like,
looks like
"Ooh,
we're
I'm gonna
moving a
get
bit
tethered here,"
laterally.
and then there's like no tether, and you're like, "Oh no."
That might have been the case. Yeah. Hmm.
Because it kind of looks like lead wise, that's where he was moving you
Yeah.
in that rotational, and then you ended up moving back over that foot.
And also, in fairness, I was both spinning and orbiting him all at the same time. So
That's a lot.
Yeah.
in genuine, genuinely, I was probably just fully off balance anyhow.
Got that power stance to.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he's
Yeah.
really good at countering that. So I was
Yeah.
like, hey, let's go into a lunge and pretend like I did this on purpose.
That is about how I get into half of the things that I do. It's like,
It's
Oh,
like,
let's
same.
pretend I did
this is
on
my
purpose.
life now. Let's
Yeah.
live here.
Let's make it look nice.
Oh, I don't go for the make it look nice. I just go for make it look intentional.
Yeah. Same thing.
But since you're
I,
like
I don't
basic
do the make it look
technique
nice. I was like,
is
oh,
good,
pretty.
it'll
No,
look
not
nice
pretty.
anyways.
Just
Exactly.
intentional. See this weird, ugly shape I made? That was me, intentionally. I made it. You bet that I made it, but you know I did that on purpose, I think.
All right, here's a magical moment.
The magic moment.
It's very reminiscent of the perfect Ken moment from Halloween Swing Thing,
Oh, that's such a pretty,
2019.
such a good angle of my jaw. Go team.
That's excellent.
Mm. I think I had just the right amount of scruff that day.
It worked out really well with the lighting and everything.
Hmm. We love when the lighting works out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that was also one of those moments where, like, I turn and I look at him because I think I was looking to highlight him.
Mhm.
But it was subtle enough that it could have been either of us being highlighted there.
I think that's a good way to go about it, though. Like, if you're not certain, don't like fully commit to something that you're not sure about.
Hmm.
It's always better to be like a hair late to something
Mm-hmm.
and get it right than it is to be like jumping the gun.
Yeah.
Well, I
And
think the
awkward.
lyric there was looks like that and then click.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he did that, and then I turned for the click.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of made it a little bit safe for both of us.
Yeah.
I love his finger extension. Like it's just so it's
I know he's got
fantastic.
energy.
Like
Yeah.
he's following through on the whole thing.
Hmm. Oh, he committed. Bam. Ta-da!
It was fantastic.
Such a good one.
And everybody goes wild.
Yep.
Oh, look at that synchronous walking. Ooh! And I overshot.
Mhm.
You made it work.
Yeah, we made it work. I over anchored away, and I
Yeah.
had to get off my arm a bit.
Tad. Just tad.
Hmm. Okay, this was a spot that I think we were actually like a little bit lost. I was like, hey, we're over here. Okay, I guess we're not. because there was like ambiguous hits going on through there, and I
Yeah.
think this next
Mm.
one I was like, okay, let's copy it on the other side. Hey, look! Oh, I overshot that. Look at that. You know, there were still moments where I didn't quite have my calm.
Mhm.
So you've now been
Oh,
competing in spotlights for years and years at this point. Do you still get nervous? Like how are the nerves?
yes and no. I mean, kind of in my mind, the nerves are something that never really go away, but it's one of those, you know, it's a constant passenger, and you just learn how to deal with it
Yeah.
Hmm.
over time. Like, you know, I still get, especially like at the bigger events like Boogie or Swingtacular, like particularly Boogie because they put out the sheets the night before
Mhm.
Hmm.
of finals. The
Yeah.
thing that was really cool about that was I kind of won either way. Like if I made finals, like yay, I made finals. I get to feel good about myself for making finals. And if I
Mhm.
didn't make finals, like thank God I don't have to go up there and do the thing.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's like I don't know. I'm generally fairly happy either way, whether I make finals or not. Because
Yeah.
like if I make it, cool, I get to do the thing. If I don't have to do the thing,
Yep.
and that's okay too.
Yep.
I
Which
don't
is
have to
a
deal with the
healthy
stress.
mindset.
I was like, look at this stress that I don't have to deal with for the rest of the weekends.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
goodness. So last weekend the Switch It Up Spotlight Finals at Boogie were after the routine shows. So like
I
showcase, classic,
know.
exhibition.
Weird.
And you and I, we didn't have a chance to talk about it in advance, but I was like, this is a choice. How did you feel like going right after classic? Because I was like,
I I kind of knew a little bit more about it ahead of time just because
uh,
I was a little bit more involved in the process. But I really enjoyed how they wanted to highlight it, you know,
mhm,
because they were kind of going back and forth between, you know, do we have this division and have all the good switchers be the judges because they would be the ones who would know switching the best,
Right.
or you know, do we recognize that hey, this division has its finals right after Classic and Showcase, and therefore the entire event is going to be there.
Yeah.
We should be highlighting the best switchers and show off what this division truly can be.
Yeah.
mhm.
And so I was kind of happy with it as it was. Like this is probably the first event that like I think start to finish really put the format as it should be in a Jack and Jill
Yeah,
format.
I
Mhm.
agree. It
Um,
felt like the first real, like what Switch Jack and Jills are going to be going forward.
right.
And it was an honor
It's
to be a part of it.
You guys want to explain why you say that?
Yeah, I'll let you do it. Phoenix, explain the format, both for
uh,
prelims and finals.
so I mean I've been in a little bit of a battle with the format in general since its inception, which as far as I'm aware, I'm the person that came up with it originally because I proposed it and then they did it at Rose City, and then it's had different versions. Like they had blue bibs and yellow bibs, and they kind of split the room in half and then did that whole thing.
Yeah.
But then you would get, you know, if you had a final of 10 couples, you would get 5 blue bibs and 5 yellow bibs.
Mhm.
And other places did other color systems, other places did other things. But either way, it's like however the people are distributed, you are only getting like the top 10 of either two groups. Which, if all of your best switchers are in Group A,
Right.
then you're
Right.
going to get a whole bunch of people like the best of Group B, but like it's not you're not grabbing the best individual dancers who are capable of doing both roles on either side. So this one was a really good format where they effectively said, "Hey, we are splitting these in half just because logistically we have to, and it's going to be a mess if we try to truly have anybody capable of drawing anybody in the lineup." Um, but that said, the judges are looking for individuals, so it doesn't matter what group they belong to. You see somebody that you want to put in finals, they can be from Group A, Group B. You could literally have all the finalists be from Group A if that's just how. the cookie crumbles.
Mhm.
So it was really good to pull the strongest switchers overall into the finals. And
Yeah.
then once we got into the finals, literally anybody could draw anybody. So it wasn't the A/B stuff again, which
Mhm.
was usually part of the format a lot of the time too.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a really good way to do it rather
That's
than,
fantastic.
yeah.
It's the way I kind of saw it originally.
Yeah.
I'm glad
Yeah, I
that it
remember.
finally actually hit that spot. For a good while, I was really starting to fall on like, you know what, these things should just be strictlies
Yeah.
because because there's also a bit of a danger component. Like if people don't understand how to switch effectively and they're doing it like because this is
Yeah.
overall it's kind of a for fun division,
Mhm.
but with people doing it for fun, trying to put a switch in a spot where a switch truly shouldn't be if somebody's got a shoulder in a compromised space or that sort of thing. Like
Mhm.
I've noticed with Jack and Jill formats, switch contests, a lot of the actual, talented switchers don't even compete because they're
Mhm.
like, this is dangerous.
Yeah.
So,
Which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
which is unfortunate. And I mean, this format didn't necessarily alleviate that either, but at
Mhm.
least by the time you get into finals, the chances of getting people who are less knowledgeable of what they're doing is a little bit lower
Mhm.
by that stage.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Maybe someday there will also be leveled, switched up. Maybe that's in the future someday.
Ooh, that'll show up at some point, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Mhm. I mean, do you guys think that there's a better way to go about reducing the dangerous, uh, like of people that don't really know what they're doing entering?
Yeah, hire people like me or Cassie or Samantha for Switch workshops.
Ding 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 ding
Yeah. It's
Sorry, that was
interesting
insane.
though. I don't feel like there's a lot of events that have the opportunity for that. I mean, some of them are now.
Yeah, a
Just
lot of events
overall.
are starting to do Switch workshops. The East Coast, Derek and Demery Leva, they've been doing a lot of them on the East Coast.
Mhm.
Samantha and I tend to be the ones doing them on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm sure there's a couple other opportunities elsewhere that I'm less aware of. I can't remember all the people and every time, but
Yeah.
the Switch workshops are starting to become like a more common thing,
Mhm.
which is nice.
Yeah. Especially if you're going to have that competition. you know,
Mhm.
I mean, I think that a lot of the dancers that are really good at doing switches right now didn't necessarily learn it from like workshops and whatnot. They,
Right.
it's more experimenting. But I think that now that we have, both of you, others that are really good with that, I think that we should take advantage of that and be like, hey, here's what we've learned.
Yeah.
Let's share this.
Yeah.
It's
It's been
fun.
so fun seeing your workshops pretty much full every time I've been your dance smarty. That's like my favorite
It's been
thing. I'm like,
insane.
I was your first teacher and now I get to shut up and let you do all the talking and I'm just gonna be here as a body. It's so great.
That's been one of the cool things. Yeah. I think at Wild Wild Westy this year, like I had one of the side rooms and it was a fairly big side room. And I had
Mhm.
like 4 rows or 3 or 4 rows of people. Like there were at least 100 people in that room. I was like, oh my gosh, you're all here for me. And everybody was wanting to learn switchy stuff. Like it was so cool.
Yeah, I love that,
It's so
especially
sweet.
because we're moving towards, more people being able to dance whatever role they want,
Hmm.
I think
Mhm.
that that's a really good way to help bring that into, just our normal competitions,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah, I'm loving the interest that's going around these
Yeah.
days.
Yeah. I remember when it was just like you, me, Sam, and like a handful of others, like
Hmm.
Shane. Like so much has changed in the past 10 years, and it is amazing. And it is a lot is in large part to you and your Degendering West Coast Swing community. And I just I'm so proud of you. I had like I
Yeah.
don't okay.
Well, what I where I try to deflect at least is, there was a lot of work done before I came along.
Mm,
Um, like I consider myself to at best have been the person, like people lined up the dominoes and like it was ready to go. I just flicked the first domino.
yeah.
Um, so
Yeah.
or one of the first dominoes, but realistically, it was everybody all contributing to it. It
Hmm.
was also a lot of, I was running into everybody saying, "Hey, we support you," except them,
Mm,
and then the next people, "Hey, we support it, but they." I was like, "Who is they? I have not run into they yet."
Yeah.
And so once I kind of exposed that there was a much smaller they than everybody expected,
Hmm.
things started to transition.
Yeah. Which is great. I think that it's nice to be more open-minded just in general. I think we do a fairly good job of that in our dance in general.
yeah.
Mhm.
The days of me like dancing with a follow in a workshop or on a floor and a random cis man walking up to me and trying to break us up. That hasn't
Mm.
happened to me in years. And that used to happen to me all the time. I don't know if anything similar to you ever happened back in the
Oh,
day, Phoenix, but
oh.
oh yeah, that was the thing, Aaron.
Yeah, that was totally a thing.
Like it
I
was
still specifically remember. I'm gonna figure out how much details I'm putting into this story. Um, no, there was specifically a time that me and a friend of mine, and this was fairly early on. Um, we decided we wanted to dance with each other. We got out there on the floor, and a lady came up and I was like, "These two guys dancing together and none for me." And we literally in that moment were guilted. Like we stopped our dance. We were only 10 seconds in. We stopped our dance, and then the person I was dancing with danced with her, and I was like, "F that noise forever."
Interesting.
Because
yeah.
yeah, I was like, never again is somebody gonna like shame me from a dance that
Yeah.
I had worked to get into as well, and I was
Mhm.
dancing with a friend of mine, and
Right.
you don't want to have that sort of a dance either,
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
was like, I was kind of done dealing with that mindset, like in
Mhm.
that exact moment.
Yeah.
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 Interesting.
All right. Well, shall we look at your dance with Roro?
Let's do it. Let's do
All
Roro.
right. I'm so glad I got this on the live stream. So, is there any preamble that you want to share before I drop the link in the chat?
Ooh, the Roro one. I mean, it was definitely one of those situations where, so it was a professional Jack and Jill, which the criteria for that, since it's non-WSTC, was if you teach dance, you qualify.
Yeah.
So that weekend, I led in All Star because the in-house rules were you can do professional, but you can't do All Star and professional in the same role. So I was one of the few people that was like, well, I guess this is an opportunity for me to actually do both, where I normally don't get to because since I'm the same level,
Right.
Right.
I have to choose. So I'm like, hey, I can just follow professional and then lead in All Star and see what
Yeah.
happens. Um, so I led an All Star, and that went well. And then
First
I
place,
went
for those who
yeah,
don't know,
Oh, yeah.
went
I
very
didn't know
well, sir.
that.
it did okay. It did okay. Margie was fantastic. We had like a nice clean dance, which again like was a really nice moment, kind of solidifying to me and just kind of making a little bit of a statement of like, hey, check out, like if you end up seeing my dance with Margie, neither of us did anything fancy. We
Mhm.
did basics and a couple musical moments, and there were no one-footed spins. There were no, like we didn't even squat or anything. Like
Sounds like my
there was
kind
no
of
waist
dance.
support. There was no squatting. Because I was like, I'm not carrying anybody. Um, these things are just flat. There's no, um, so yeah, so that was a really fun dance, and it was a mostly clean dance that was like just dancing and no
Mhm.
crazy flash.
Yeah.
So then dancing with Roro, the finals it went straight to finals, so everybody that signed up just was automatically in. So I was
Interesting.
definitely nervous, and I did.
Understandably so.
kind of sort of black out a little bit. So, like, the only thing going through my mind was, oh my God, yay, Royston.
Mhm.
And shut up and listen. Because again, playing that metagame, when you draw Royston, like, shut up and listen.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which, ADD got in the way a couple times, but for the most part, I shut up to
To
listen.
beautiful comedic effect, I will say. Your 180-degree jump turn
That was,
that was beautiful.
it was a great moment. Like, the big thing I noticed was there were a lot of times that I like looked off to my right when he was to my left. I'm like, I can't see him. I don't know what's going on. That's a bad idea.
What's it like getting led in samba roles by Robert Royston in a spotlight? Because that feels like bucket list material right there.
That was my
and
like
you
first
got it.
comment.
I kind of went through
Got
like
it.
all of the major things. The only thing that I missed was this
Oh,
one
yeah.
Yeah.
because I decided I had a better idea at that moment. But I went through like the full Royston dance. It was
You
great.
did. You
Yeah.
did. Oh man. I was like I thought I would cry as soon as I saw you two draw each other. I was like, I'm gonna cry. But I was just happy. I was just so happy the whole time. I cried later.
I was pretty close to crying. I mean, like, I don't I can scarcely remember dances that I have been so excited to get to do since like Jen DeLuca back in 2013.
Oh god. That one I was legitimately crying. Rosie Thor and
I
I
was
were
too. You can see it in the video. She comes up and wipes
crying.
my eyes with her shirt.
All right, without further ado,
Okay.
link is in the chat. Go ahead and watch both songs and we'll get to analyzing. So good, so fun.
Such fun.
Oh my God. And I just love his like serious face for like the first half
Oh yeah.
of the first song. It's just so
Well, I think it's his way of like making me pay attention because
yeah.
he also knows that I like internalize and kind of go into my own space a lot. So again, my focus for that one was like pay attention, don't lose attention, pay attention.
Mhm. Yeah, when he was on, he was talking about how like the bowing both to the audience and then to the partner, like that's something he strategically does with a lot of his spotlight partners to be like, are you here? Are you here? Are you with me? And it's genius.
Yeah.
It works really well.
And
Is
he
there
was
anything
absolutely
else?
making sure that I was with him.
Is there anything else you want to share before we dive into the screen share?
Oh, let's go into it.
All right, to the screen share.
Dishonor on you, dishonor on you, cow.
Oh my God, I love it so much. Okay, sorry, let me bring back all the things so I'm not alone. No.
Yeah, you can see I went from like, oh my God, yay, yay, to oh we're serious. Okay, let's go.
Yeah. Tis time.
He was like, we mean business. I'm like, okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I guess we do.
Oh God, the way you just so perfectly mirror his pose is so satisfying in this beginning.
Well, like I said, I was focusing on like paying attention. And then I stole the teeth.
So good. And then this is the part where you feel like Lorene Baldowie.
This hurts my back to watch.
Oh yeah, because I will arch.
But wait, there's more.
Another. The other thing that I learned from all of these spotlights is what outfits don't work. Like this one. It's like that like the vest to gray shirt combo. That gray shirt is just too long comparison to the vest.
Yeah, you need like a Victorian waistcoat that actually like goes over the hips.
With
like
tails.
Is a little bit longer. Yeah.
But you know, that's just how it do. I had a very similarly ill-fitting outfit dancing with Jen DeLuca.
You cursed
It's always
yourself.
these big videos that are the ones where I'm like, oh, I should have made other outfit choices. This is where he's done a little bit of research too. What?
Oh, I was just like, when I watched this live, I remember being surprised by his choice to go into Charleston.
Uh-huh.
And were you surprised as well?
You could see from my face I was slightly surprised, and then I realized what was going on.
Yeah.
Um, because this is Royston doing some homework where he knows that I have a dance partner who does Lindy Hop,
hmm
and therefore I do a smidge of Lindy Hop.
hmm
So he was like, "Hey, he knows how to do Charleston. I'm going to throw that out."
hmm
Took me about 2 beats to realize what was going on.
hmm But he gave you the time to catch on, which
Yeah.
Yes,
like,
which
I
is
love
really
it.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of times what leaders, excuse me, what leaders will do is they'll have an idea and they'll do it one time,
Yep.
and then the follower is ready to do it the second time, but the leader's already bailed because the follower
Yep.
didn't pick it up on day one.
Yep.
And the
Like, no,
follower's
we're
like,
done.
but I was ready this
I
time.
was like, I was ready this time. So he cycled through it long enough, and I think the music was appropriate for that as well. But
Yeah.
he cycled through it long enough that you know, I
Yeah.
actually got to catch on.
Yeah. And I love how much he's accommodating your height,
I
arching
know. I
into
was
his
just
back.
about to say that. Look at him go to that center line.
Meanwhile, you're over here with like double jointed shoulder, being like, I'm good.
Oh yeah, yeah. I could rest my arm backwards on his shoulder if I wanted to.
Now you're John Lindo.
Dum dum dum
Mhm.
dum 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 dum. Okay, interesting little thing in there that I remember in the moment. He was going for a different foot rhythm than I was.
Mhm.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
So it was like go teeth biggest da 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 right. And
Mm-hmm.
he was either asking for one more or one less. And I think I adjusted it the second time through. Da
Mm-hmm.
da da. I think I was going for walk walk triple step triple or one
Mm-hmm.
two da da da.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um and I think he was asking for the second one, the extra step.
Yeah. Because in the
Mhm.
music, there's 4 accents
Yeah.
instead of just 3.
Right. And so I think he was asking for an extra one and I didn't give it. But then I caught on like the very last second, so I still gave it.
Yeah.
And then the second time through, I think I did the 3. Bum bum bum. Yeah. So that was us like kind of recongealing on that one. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, it looks because
Oh
he's
yeah.
leading. If you watch
Okay.
him, he's leading
Yeah,
4
yeah,
the
yeah.
first time, and then he leads 3 the second time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he felt that I tried for 3 the first time, and so he went back toward what I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he felt that I was trying to do 3, and that the fourth one like I didn't realize I was going to do. So then
Mhm.
he modified, and the second time through, he's like, "Okay, we'll do 3."
hmm
Which is excellent adjusting
So
for
excellent.
In the moment
But I
adjusting.
know that you are also that good at adjusting Phoenix, so I could imagine
Right.
the equal and opposite happening on the other end
So
as well.
so the exact like crossover point was like through the first one, I was like, "Oh, there's one more." And
hmm
so the
Mhm.
second time through, I'm sitting there trying to figure out, okay, is he going to adjust to me or do I need to adjust to him? So I was sitting
hmm
there like with 3 with the fourth one ready to go if it needed to be.
Yep.
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 And so I think he decided, okay, I'm going to adjust to Phoenix, and so we're going to do the 3 on the second time through. And so, yeah,
Masterful partnering. That's what that is
Mhm.
from both sides. And I love how just slowly and simply you decide to come out of this
Yeah.
monkey
that's
bar.
another thing that I just do a lot. I get lost in weight support moves a lot, and so this is one of my strategies for filling out a phrase.
Mhm.
Because I'll end up in one of these things, but the musical hits like either already happened or something else is coming along. So I just hang out and I wait for the next one.
Yep.
And so I'll just like slow mo come back up until the right hit comes along.
Mhm. It's a good way to do that for anyone, really. Like, if you
Mhm.
get into something that you miss, you just extend it to the next thing.
Yeah. Tolerating the discomfort of just being in a moment longer than your
Mhm.
nervous system wants you to be.
Yep.
Oh, for sure. I'll sit there and I'll hold out like 8 beats if I have to. Might even go to 12 'Cause I think something musically came along around then, or like the natural phrase change came around.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That one I overshot.
There was a lot of momentum.
Well, I added a lot of momentum that because I thought we
Mhm.
were doing horse and carriage,
Mhm.
and so I was like ready to like zoom through it. But you notice I shot in a direction instead of around him, and I got too far away, and so he got pulled off of it and recovered. Yeah. That, or I was like trying to do that little belly whip thing with like a little lean forward. And
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah,
one of
yeah.
these days, I'm going to realize that the little lean forward isn't an actual lean.
It's an illusion, don't you know?
It's an illusion of a lean, but I'm like, let's go. Let's actually lean into that. And yank, and again, high lever as a tall person.
Right.
Yep.
When I actually lean into it, that puts a lot of energy, and it's going to yank people around.
Yeah.
Yep. And for those who may have not seen it, I'm talking to the recorded audience at this point.
Mhm.
I'll put a link to the tall follow panel upon which Phoenix was also
Oh
on,
yeah,
because that was a great episode.
Mhm.
that's fun. So I
But
can
yeah,
do
this
that.
pattern is tricky as a leader because you have to make sure your follow is staying like in your right shoulder pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well,
like this distance right here is where the beginning of the end is happening.
Yeah, I think part of it, if you watch my right arm there, the thing that I usually feel as the signal to truly go around is that I feel that I get drawn in a circle through my right arm.
Mm,
And I think he let that one just go linear. And so I just got away a little bit too far.
Mhm.
And I was like, let's jump. And I mean, look at me just already leaning. I'm like, I'm putting power into this. I really don't need to, but I'm putting power into this.
I mean, it is fun seeing Roro get yeeted down the slot. I'm not gonna lie.
It is fun. Yes, true.
And I bet he enjoyed it as well.
Oh, for sure. And he recovered it so well.
His face about halfway through
Then
that.
he turned it into a
Oh,
monkey.
okay.
Like, yeah, I led that.
What we wanted to happen.
Oh, is this the queen bee part?
It
Oh, it
is.
totally is.
Mhm.
Yeah, so here's the second time in 2 weeks that I've pulled off a Beyonce reference.
I feel like I'm the one that got that stuck in your head because I always do that to anything Beyonce, anything socially.
I love it.
Either that
'Cause I
or
was
the push steps from the same music video. Yeah.
the single ladies push.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Well, because anytime I hear Queen Bee, like the two things I go for is either like do a Beyonce reference with the single lady's hand,
Yep.
or I'll like my laptop was about to die. Or I'll literally just like put a stinger next to my butt. And I figured, Beyonce was going to be a little bit classier.
Probably, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Probably the way to go. Dancing with Roro.
Slightly more evolved reference anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of going for a literal bee with a stinger. That one I overshot. I don't think that was supposed to be a drop.
He looked unprepared for it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He
And
caught on real fast.
that's half of dancing with me. You just got to be ready for
Mhm.
like, oh, he's on the floor. That one.
Yeah.
But again, he does so well at just covering up for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think he wanted to go into like, my guess would be like, little strut, like
Side by
boogie
side
walks,
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
side by side boogie walks, because that's another very classic Royston thing.
Mhm.
But I had overshot and I had so much momentum by that point that I just landed in like a drop.
Just go with it at that point.
Mhm.
And then there were clicks going on. And then this is where I think originally I wanted to be up for the clicks, but he wanted me to be down for the clicks.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I'll do down for the clicks.
Feel the burn.
Uh-huh. Yeah, oddly, I'm fairly, and see, I pulled in the second foot so I can get out.
Yep.
Yep. Very smart.
Yeah. Because I was like, I'm not gonna make him like lift me out of this.
Yeah, that would have been significantly harder for everyone involved.
But also, if you notice, each time he scooches himself closer to me so he can better support me coming back up.
Oh,
Yeah.
sneaky.
Yep.
Sneaky.
Because he knows I'm like way like he just
Yeah.
pays so much attention. He knows I'm that far off.
Mhm.
And so he just scooches his way closer and closer each time.
Yep.
So that when it's time to actually lift me up, if he had to actually just deadlift me, he's ready for it. And then I think this might be the song fade. And then he's like, we're not done yet. Sitting there watching. You know what? I was watching him that whole time and I still just didn't do it. I was so committed to my own bit. I was so committed to my own bit.
I am not mad about it.
Good.
That hand motion right there. He's like a little bit more aggressive of a point, right?
He's like, come here.
Come this way.
Yeah. Because, just the little motions where it's like, I lost you, come back right here. Mm-hmm. Oh, he gave me the full.
Yeah.
Here. He did
Get
the whole
over
pointing
here.
down to the floor. He's like, get over here.
I do appreciate that you didn't.
Down.
I appreciate.
I didn't notice that in the moment.
You didn't rush to be on the same speedier timing as
Yeah.
him. You stayed slower, which like I really appreciate because that was more like in integrity with what you had been contributing already.
Yeah. I committed to what my bit was. Like I knew I screwed up there, but I was like, I will just dance my way back, and right, and expertly he goes right back into like, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
And you'll notice I'm like paying a lot of attention after that point because I'm like, this is the second time at least that I've fallen off script. I love how I just give this face of like, what I do. I love it. It's so good. Oh, look at me not committing my weight into that turnaround as much this time. See, I'm learning as I go.
Mm-hmm. How to not make the same mistake the second time,
I know, right? Like we're gonna hit this one, and then we're gonna do the little belly whip thing. I'm gonna swim through it, but I'm not gonna like super commit because it's all an illusion. Look at me being classy with my little fingers there. See, even through the turns, I'm like, I am scared to look away.
Yep.
Yep.
Your eyes just all the way around.
That was a genius choice on his part to have you, to lead you and then to lead him.
Oh, of course.
Into it.
Yeah, because, how often is he going to have a partner that, like...
Yeah.
Like, my turn.
That somewhat naturally leads one-footed spins.
Yep.
His were really nice, too.
Oh, no, his were way better than mine, for sure.
Well, I mean, you are taller than him, so that is probably...
That is true, but, there's still a lot of work that I can do on my one foots to, like, make them look dancier. Yeah, he can't expand up. I can't. He was able to stand tall. He's like, let me do it.
I know, right?
And I was like, let me be 4,000 pieces smaller.
I relate to that. There are so few leaders that could lead me in one foot, let alone lead them with acceleration and increasing power as opposed to the momentum just dissipating on its own. And so at Bridgetown, I was social dancing with someone who led me and was accelerating me through them. And I was rock solid. I was fine. But inside my head was going, because it had been like 3.5 years since I did
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something you have to get used to.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
It's like a roller coaster in your own meat suit.
There was some sort of a musical hit I was trying to hit in there, and I just did not do well. Because I think I wanted to hit some sort of a slowdown and then go
Mhm.
back into spinning quicker.
Mhm.
But I was so like my shoulder was so out by that point. He was
Yeah.
like, "We're done."
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, "You got cocky. You're done now."
Yeah. So what is going on in the ESP eye to eye right here? Does he know you're gonna drop into the splits?
Well, I think in that moment, like, we had lost a lot of momentum, and I think I'm actually pressing down into his shoulders at that point. So like I'm kind of preemptively realistically, I think we're both just sitting there waiting for two beats because like the big moment is 2 or 3 beats away.
Mhm.
And there's no reason trying to reset and try to hit that all at once. So we just like stood there and I started to like press down and he's just there ready to support it. Boom. With my little pseudo jazz split
Mhm.
thing. And he's like, nope. Yeah, he's good at playing the comedy.
The way he lets his cheeks just like go slack, so they kind of when he's shaking his head. It's so great.
Yeah. See, what was great about that was I legitimately was trying to do mine somewhat nicely,
Mhm.
and it just wasn't. And he knew flat out he can't fully split, so he'll just do one that kind of looks like he can't.
Mhm.
So I would have been smart to also recognize that I can't do a full split, and I should not attempt to do them in earnest.
I love the
The
little
samba
like
rolls.
right before you're like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing.
That was also so perfectly timed with the music too, because we just had this little soft three count reset, like
Mhm.
that slow little draw in. Let's go. And
Mhm.
that gave me plenty of time. Like I knew the samba rolls were coming from a mile away
Yeah.
Yeah.
because we were there, and then like, right there, I was like, "Oh, here comes the moment." And like I fully, I don't know, I feel like I've seen like ballroom dancers or something like do this little hand shape with it, and so
Mhm.
I just lived in the little hand shape.
Yep.
I remember back in the day when Leilani Nakagawa and I were planning on doing a Strictly. So we were practicing on occasion because we enjoy practicing with each other. And I was like, why don't you just teach me real samba rolls? Because why not? Like full with the correct hip motion and leg action and everything. And with my hypermobile hips, my hip went out like every single time. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna revert to the Roro Westy samba rolls
Yeah.
forever.
Bam bam, summer rolls and do. He like went full dirty dancing. Like he like acted his way into that, like just
Yep.
caressing the arm. We're going into this. I was like,
Mhm.
okay,
Yep.
it's so much attention on that arm. Do-do-do.
Yeah, that detail where like not only is he holding it, but he preps it
Mhm.
into your frame in front of you first.
Mm-hmm.
It and shifts your weight. And then we're like, okay, now we're going.
Yeah. I also love how he can only reach like halfway up my arm.
I know.
You tried,
I love how he
I
was
have long
surprised.
arms. I have long arms. I think half of him prepping it in was just to get a little bit more real stuff.
I love how he was
Not really.
surprised to be on the fun size leader panel. Whereas you
Yeah.
and I are like, sir, you're tiny.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, what fun.
Both great dances.
So good.
Mm-hmm.
And you're also like, we didn't have it prepped for tonight, but your switch dance with Janelle Guido from last
That was
weekend at
fun.
Boogie was absolutely phenomenal.
It was so much fun.
Yeah.
My second Beyonce reference in 2 weeks.
It's like, yeah, I know.
It's like, did I do any Beyonce references at Bridgetown? I probably did, I'm sure.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
So what's one of your current teaching soapboxes that you're enjoying speaking to a lot right now?
Teaching soapboxes, like the thing that I just like wanna just cram into people's
what's the
heads.
soapbox of the week?
Right of the week?
Or the month?
I mean, in general, like the big thing I've been focusing on a lot for everybody is for, leaders to be intentional and followers to be consistent. Like, followers even being wrong, be consistently wrong, because even if you have the shopping cart with the wonky wheel that pulls it off to the right, it's always pulling it off to the right. So I know how to deal with that.
Right. Yep. Right.
And with leaders, big thing is, like, hey, do you want to go to like this place and get some stuff and somewhere at some point sometime? Or like, hey, I'm getting pizza at 2:00. Do you want to come along? Right? Just be decisive and tell me what you want. Say yes or no.
Yeah, that's good.
So, true in dancing and in life.
Yep.
Yeah. So I suppose that's one of them lately.
So why don't you plug your stuff? Oh, unless Alicia has a question first. All right. Yeah, plug things.
Plugging
Tell the
things?
world.
Oh.
Yes.
Wow, telling the world. What am I doing?
Advertise yourself.
Well, my next event is a Halloween swing thing. I'm just attending that one, but it's going to be really fun because I am bringing Winifred Sanderson, which is going to be
Wait, you are, sir. Are you going to
not the actual Bette Midler?
Winifred?
No.
Are you going to be Winifred Sanderson? That's what I'm excited about.
I am going to be Winifred Sanderson, and I've
so
got
many pictures.
I've got two friends who are going to be Sarah and Mary. And I think we've got clearance. I think we've got clearance right before the Scary Strictly to put a spell on the crowd to dance until they die.
God damn it, I want to go now.
So it's going to be really fun because I have my wig and I have my outfit and I have my cape and I have my El momento, por favor.
I'm just having flashbacks to the last
one. I've got these too. Yeah. I'm very excited. It's going to be a fun time.
Oh my goodness. I'm so excited. And then what's after that for you?
After that, I have DCSX, which I believe I get to do a workshop at. And then I do the open and then tap and then Swingle Bell.
Woo! And then what's your website so everyone can stalk
My website, phoenixgraydance.com. Make sure you spell dance correctly. Yeah, phoenixgraydance.com, which has my calendar for the things that I'm going to event-wise and workshop-wise, and also has links to my merch and all of that kind of stuff. But that should tell you where I'm going and what I'm doing and what I have.
Oh yeah, is the fan going to be back in stock anytime soon?
The fan is coming back into stock. Yes, I don't have one. I do have one nearby.
Just don't open it right next to the mic. I've got earbuds.
Yeah. My fan. The next round of them, they're shipping toward me sometime soon.
Excellent.
And the next round is going to have UV reactive ink, so it's going to be the same design.
Well, shit, I'm going to buy another one.
I know. In a black light, it's going to glow. It'd be great.
Yes, I like that.
Take my money.
Philip J. Fry.
I in part thank the fan for getting the social dancer award, because I think I was telling you it was helping me actually be more social, because I'm like, I don't feel as awkward talking to someone if I am offering air conditioning services.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's like one of the best little prop merch gag whatever things I've had. It's just very perfect.
Mm-hmm.
A fan club that's a literal fan.
Yep. It is very clever. It is absolutely perfect.
And my various other jokes that went along with that, because they only come in this size, so they are also my biggest fans. And since I've just got this design, they are also my OnlyFans. Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
But I guess technically they're not my OnlyFans if I have like the UV ones and the non-UV ones, but
the joke still works.
Exactly, they are quite fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a great way to wrap things up.
I'm gonna like have a chapter. It's like the Phoenix Pun Club is gonna be.
Oh, I've got a lot of them, and it's terrible. It's really bad.
I still remember how unplanned, uncoordinated you said like high five and rotate to your next partner when I was assisting you at Bridgetown, and we
oh my gosh,
high fived and we both jumped 360,
and then we just turned. It was so good. There was no prep time, and we just
the entire room was like, "Oh my god, that was just improvised."
It was. It was just one of those magical moments.
Oh, well, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks
for having me.
Yeah,
it's super fun. I'm excited. I have ice cream after this. It's gonna be so good. It's like you do this sports ball game, and then you go for ice cream after.
Yeah, sports ball, love it.
That's great.
All right. Well, looks like there aren't any questions, but everybody attend a Switch workshop.
Yeah.
If there's one at your event, even if it's like a little scary, try it. Just
do it.
It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. And these two are both really great teachers. So.
Oh, hey, yeah. Maybe I'll get hired to do that sometime. Maybe we'll get hired together. Now that would be shenanigans.
There you go.
Both of us mic'd at the same time. That's
dangerous.
That would be a thing. Yes, agreed, Aaron.
That's dangerous.
All right.
I know they were asking, "Hey, do we want to mic her up too?" I was like, "We'll see."
I'm like, if they were paying me, yes, I would happily be mic'd up.
Yeah,
like, I'm just here to help.
Unleash that chaos upon the world.
No, I only unleash chaos when money is involved.
Indeed.
Or a fee. All right. Thank you again. I'll stop the recording so we can proceed on to the late night endeavor. But yes, thank you all for joining us.
Nerdy After Dark.